Hi, this is Nige Rockett for Onslaught, and you're listening to the Brutally Delicious podcast.
Hey, you're listening to the Brutally Delicious podcast. I am Soda Can Moore.
I'm Chris.
And today, shot glass Chris. And today, today we've got another good one for you. We've got Onslaught. I don't know if you've had a chance to check these guys out.
Of course.
I believe they're from the UK. I'm just going to double check myself before I misspeak because I do that quite often. Yeah, they're from the UK. And we are speaking with the guitarist Nige Rockett.
Okay.
If you want to hang on a second, we'll go ahead and grab him. I've got him queued up.
Let's do it.
Bruce Moore is my partner, Chris.
How you doing, guys?
Good. How are you, man?
I'm good, thanks.
Doing all right over there in London? You guys hanging in there with this?
It's not good, man. It's still not so great, you know. Still lots of people dying every day, unfortunately. But I don't know. We just have to wait and see, man. It's tough. It's not a good situation.
It's crazy times out there right now.
Yeah. Whereabouts are you two?
I'm in North Virginia near DC.
And I'm in Central Virginia, so about an hour or two south of Chris there.
Yeah, so how's the actual situation where you guys are?
It's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. The county I live in has a positivity rate of 11% right now.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, it's not good. But it's better than Florida. So, you know, if we look on the bright side, we're doing okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they just opened everything back up on the weekend. The bars and restaurants and things like that. And they're already starting to close down again. So
I don't know where this goes.
Pure genius.
How is it navigating the new era, being in a band and trying to get music out, and obviously without playing?
Yeah, it's kind of been okay, obviously, because we decided to proceed with the album release, unlike many other bands, you know. We kind of looked at the positives rather than the negatives. We've seen like Testament and Lamb of God, and they were releasing their records, so there was obviously they obviously had positive thinking behind it, and we thought, yeah, let's go for it. There's no shows, not many bands are releasing, and the fans are going to want to need new music, you know. So we thought, let's do it. Let's get ahead of the game. Get the album out. Hopefully, this will go away by the end of the year, maybe, and then we can get back on track ahead of everybody else. So we've kind of took that route, really.
All right. Are you guys doing anything interesting or different to interact with your fans and stay connected?
No, just as much as we can on our social media stuff, you know. Not really interested in trying to do these online things. I don't think for us particularly, or thrash metal bands in general, is going to kind of work. You lose that. We need that interaction with the fans, and the fans need that with the bands. Sure. I think to make that energy work, and I just couldn't see it happening. So I don't really want to attempt it unless it's absolutely necessary, you know.
Right. Chris?
So you guys started like in the early 80s.
Yeah.
What was it like? What's it like being a metal band in the 80s compared to what it's like besides COVID? Like if we put COVID aside, compared to now?
That's a very good question. If anything, I'd much more enjoy this time around.
Really?
Yeah. Obviously, those things were really fresh back then, and super exciting, obviously, because nobody knew what was going to happen back in those early days, you know.
Yeah.
But there's so much more scope to do things now. I mean, I think the first time around, we just toured Europe and stuff. But now we've played in over 70 different countries worldwide. So the scope of what we can do and the ease of what we can do things with the communication and stuff like that is just incredible. It's just there on tap for us to be able to go and play all these shows in amazing places to amazing people, and that really wasn't possible the first time around. So it's much more exciting in that kind of a sense, for us.
Do you mind me asking why wasn't it possible?
I think, to start off with, say, for example, with our first album, Power from Hell, it was huge in America and Brazil. So we got specific releases there from license deals and stuff, and it just went mad. But for example, to communicate with anybody in Brazil, because it was all done by kind of just basically airmail. Yeah. That would take like 3 weeks to communicate.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
It was so slow. Obviously, there was telephones and that, but it just didn't happen back then on the scale of what it does now. It was even difficult to get to the States at that time. So you can imagine trying to get to places like Vietnam and China and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, the communication just speeds things up. It's just. Us going to China is no different to going to France or something. What it used to be back in the day, So that's the biggest difference is communication, right. For sure.
You know what? I wasn't expecting that answer because oftentimes people look at their younger years as like the best time of my life, or like it was so much better when I was younger than it is today. And you hear a lot of those answers, but from you, you're like, it's way better right now.
I'll be honest. We were pretty young kids at the time, and it just flew by, and it was just a blur. And you didn't realize it was happening, and it was gone. We were only together for 8 years first time around, and a few years of that we're kind of pretty shitty at the end. So I've got a lot fonder memories this time around, I must say.
Right.
As I said.
Nice.
Okay, here's another one then. Gear from then to gear now.
Not a lot of difference, to be honest. The one major factor for me is just the stuff like the Kemper preamps and stuff, which we use. But in terms of everything else, I'm still playing the same guitars as I did in the 80s.
Oh, cool.
I got 4 Charvel guitars. One was which is my main one, the first one I got from them back in late '86, and I've still got that guitar. So, and the rest are just the same versions of the same model, So, the guitars are exactly the same. I'm still plugging into. I use a Kemper. That's the only thing for me is different. It goes in my hand luggage, so I can take that anywhere in the world.
Right.
But I'll still plug into the back into the effects loop of a Marshall head or an Engel head, So exactly the same. I'm not one. I don't do all this DI nonsense. I can't do that. I got to have a load of bank of cabinets behind me making a real noise. So the only thing is the Kemper. That's it. Pedals the same.
Bruce,
that's awesome. Yeah. So when you guys were writing for this record, were you able to get together at all? Was it more like taking advantage of technology and emailing stuff back and forth?
Yeah, it was, but that's something that we've done on the last 2 albums previously. Anyway, we never write in the studio. It doesn't work for us. I find it gets a bit too. Sometimes you go around in circles where there's 5 people putting ideas in. Oh, I like that. No, I don't like that. And it doesn't work. So we've written the previous 2 in the studio with myself and Andy Rosser Davis, who was the previous guitarist in the band. This one I was all on my own. So I wrote most of this record at home. But I was sending it out to the guys all the time, getting their input, what they wanted to add or what they wanted to take away. And it was cool. It worked very well. Everybody's happy with that. Wayne, our other guitarist, had some great input, and it was cool. It was a really smooth process. So we were all blown away how it's come out. So it obviously worked again for us.
Awesome. Chris?
I don't have anything else really. Bruce, do you?
I'm pretty good. I just I want to thank you for taking the time, because I'm a longtime fan, and it's nice to finally chat with you. And especially through all this, we're learning a lot today about how people are reinventing themselves and learning how to deal with adversity and still getting the metal and the music out.
Yeah. I mean, we'll always find a way, won't we? We're a pretty hardy bunch of the metalheads, so I'm sure we'll find a way around everything. It's just getting back to these live shows now, and then we'll be good to go again.
And it doesn't seem to have taken so long to have navigated at least, a portion of it is coming back sort of. We're still releasing records and still getting stuff out there, and there's still sort of a scene.
Yeah, I mean that was another reason we put the album out as well, is we wanted to support our label,
Right.
If everybody withdrew their releases for 6-9 months, the labels are going to be in serious bother as well. So that was an additional factor to getting this album out, just to help the label, because I think they're down to 4 releases over the next 2 or 3 months. So that kind of shows you.
Yeah.
So they got to keep going, So yeah, we get around it, and hopefully it's going to work in our favor. What we've done, like I said, by putting the album out there, and hopefully fans appreciate the new music and take it from there.
Awesome. That's all I've got.
Ever wonder what a punch from Elton John feels like?
Or how you'd cope with having turned down the chance to be in Nirvana?
Or what signal Keith Richards gives when he wants you to get the hell out of his hotel room?
Fans of Too Much Effing Perspective don't have to wonder, because they've heard these exact stories and a jillion others on our podcast. I'm Alex Hoffman, former tour manager for Radiohead.
And I'm musician and comedy writer Alan Keller. On the TMEP show, we get guests like Nancy Wilson from Heart, Jeremiah Freites from the Lumineers, and Modern Family's Julie Bowen to tell us things they may have only shared with their therapist, clergy, or a TMZ stringer.
So join us on Too Much Effing Perspective. That's EFFING Perspective. The only podcast you crank up to 11.